everybody. Welcome to Joneel and I. We're back again, and we've got great stuff to talk about. And we've just been yakking away like crazy
Yeah.
um, on our common ground.
Yes.
Then we thought we better turn on the recording so
Yeah.
that y'all can hear this stuff.
I did say, wait, let me turn the recorder on, kind of a
Yes,
thing.
exactly. So, do you
But
want to
yeah.
introduce yourself?
Well,
And
I'm Joni Conley, and this is Bunny Nussbaum, and we talk about common ground conversations, but we also talk about life, just stuff that goes on that makes some of those conversations and those things harder or more difficult
yes.
than they have been. So that was what our pre. I wish you could be a little monkey or a little mouse in the corner and listening to us, but we're going to try to.
But we'll repeat. We
Yeah,
can repeat, not a
yeah,
problem.
yeah.
Yes.
So what we're leaning, well, Bonnie, did you have something to say before I just
Nope.
move in?
Nope. Go ahead.
What we were, we always, well, she always sends me,
Can't even speak, right?
she sends me an email every time. What are we talking about today? But both of us have been challenged in our capacity to deal with some of the things that are happening in life. And mine, physical, I had plantar fasciitis. I've been a nurse for 50 years, never had plantar fasciitis till now. I'm telling you what, the
Ouch.
pain, the ouch, and the this, and all of that. Got a cortisone shot. It's doing better, but I was having Charlie horses in my leg. I was being woke up every night with this stuff, yada, yada, yada. And somebody out there is dealing with a physical, emotional, a new baby. Think about Lauren and a new baby.
Yes, you're exhausted.
Yeah.
Think about so I've got a friend who's got gastritis. It's pushing her to the point where she's almost feeling suicidal.
Yes.
It's that bad. And for myself, just starting a CPAP machine, I want to throw this thing right out in the driveway. I've had it. I mean, this is week 2, pushing 3. Yeah. So when you have something physical going on and then something comes at you, let's just say at you,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh my God, I don't have the bandwidth for this.
And that's where the word capacity came in. We're on our conversation, and it's okay to say I'm maxed, I'm at my capacity, but something inside of us thinks I need to soldier on. I can take something else. I can do it. It's that bring home the bacon kind of a thing, and
Yes. And you're supposed to be there for everyone you know. And I had a friend today ask me or say, I just need a pep talk. And I needed to say to her, I don't have much bandwidth, but
yeah,
let's have a conversation. But yeah, but owning and I think people end up feeling like they're less than
or a
if
failure, a failure,
yes,
a
if
failure.
they own, because there's those people who are like, oh, it's all good, it'll be fine, it'll be
Mm,
great, and they're drowning, but they don't say so.
mm-hmm,
They
mm-hmm.
don't say so.
And I don't know if that's societal condition or women condition or where we
All
get
the above.
all the above. Yes, I with yeah,
Corporate America, you aren't
corporate.
supposed to show any weakness
Mm-hmm.
in corporate America, as if the ebb and flow of capacity is a weakness.
That's
It's a human thing.
mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
just a human thing.
Well, and we think about the things that diminish our capacity, and pain in my foot, which sounds silly,
Mhm.
but it wasn't silly. It was overwhelming kind of a thing. And I've been in other situations, but this one, for some reason, just really
Put
drained
you over the edge.
physical pain, emotional pain,
Mhm.
disturbances in the force.
Yes, the things that are going on in our world right now, it can
Mhm.
be so discouraging. And the death by a thousand paper cuts,
Yeah.
right? One more little thing happens, and how many of us have heard recently someone say, if I hear one
Hmm.
more cruddy thing, I'm
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think just first of all, being aware of your capacity and that it is not a moral weakness. It's
No.
not a sign of anything other than this ecosystem of our lives is it takes hits and it's
Yes.
and
And it's a call to action. It's a call to action
yes.
for us to take good care of ourselves. Sometimes that means unplugging. I'm going to be turning my phone off for tonight. So,
Mm-hmm.
what do you need to do for you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you need to quit the doom scrolling? Do you need to unplug from social media for a week? What do
Mm-hmm.
you need to do to help yourself? Do you need to? Here it comes. You ready? Hold on to your butts. Do you need to ask for help?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that one's huge. I think
Mm-hmm.
and somewhere and I was reflecting with a couple of friends the other day when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was in my last semester of college and my ex-husband had just come home from prison, but I had and got diagnosed. I had chemo on Monday, slept on Tuesday, studied on Wednesday, went to school on Thursday, and I worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 7P to 7A as a house supervisor. And I did that for 6 months. And I think, why in the world didn't somebody grab my cheeks and say,
Honey,
yeah, exactly.
don't do this.
And I don't know who I was trying to prove what to or what. And there's somebody out there who hears this is actually do I can do this. I can take care of the kids. I can take care of the aging parents. I can do the make the dinner for the
I
neighbors.
can do everything.
And you
And
can't.
you can't.
And you
And you can't.
can't.
And when you try to, you are being your own worst abuser.
Hmm.
You are being your own worst abuser. You're not listening to, and we get so critical of ourselves. I'm just being a wine bag. I'm being a big baby. No,
Mm-mm.
no.
Mm-mm.
This is you, your inner self saying, hear me, help me, whatever. Because what happens next is, and we were talking about this, you fall down a flight of stairs, you have a car accident, you slip and fall in the shower. Something is going to happen that stops you
Hmm.
if you
And if
don't
we
take good care. Yeah.
and when we put this into the context of our nervous system, remember our nervous system is always scanning for safety. And when it says not safe, it's like that, what was it, Lost in Space? Danger, Will Robinson, danger. It's that danger. And you're right, it is a physiological response as well. It's not,
And
go
it can
ahead.
also get addictive. We
Yeah.
can get addicted to that adrenaline rush of I can do it all. I can go and go and go and go until I fall into bed at 2 in the morning, knowing I'm getting up at 4 in the morning. Some of that, there's a word for people who are doing this. Martyr.
Yeah. Yeah.
Martyr. Stop being a
Yeah.
martyr.
When I
It's
worked
not
at
a good thing.
when I worked at the advisory board in leadership, we had this little quiz that we gave some of our participants. And one of the categories was addicted to being the hero. And I'm telling you what, I scored so high in that one, it wasn't even
Oh, I'd be
funny.
off the charts. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's where, that adrenaline rush of being the one who didn't come, I've
Da,
got the
da,
A.
da, da. Yeah.
And I lived in that for a long time with
Mhm.
my family, with my daughter, the rescuer. We've talked about my rescuing hero kind of piece of it. And sometimes our bodies are trying to slap up aside the head and say, you don't need to do that anymore.
No.
It,
And sometimes they'll take over and they'll do things. Like when I was doing one of my online videos and out of my mouth flew, I think I'm semi-retired now. I was
they're
like,
just,
who
and
just
it,
said that? I just did. Are you
yeah.
kidding me? But what I have found is it's really nice to
Mhm,
be semi-retired. It's really nice to say, that's not my problem. It's
mhm.
really nice to say, it's the middle of the day and I'm going to go sit on the front porch for a while.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
All
Wow.
of all of those things. And it's complicated when the people are some of our family, the close, intimate circle kind of people that you
Mhm.
have to then make difficult decisions about and all those things. And interesting about you, I don't know about you and your siblings, but me and my siblings, when we all get together, which we did over the couple weeks ago, we fall into our same patterns, oldest, middle,
Yes.
youngest, and those just play out. And it's
It's
being a
like, how
little,
did I get to be 12 again? What
yeah.
happened here?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just you just automatically fall back into that unless awareness. And
Awareness.
this is the piece that there is an
And
opportunity.
make it an experiment. Make it something fun. So, wouldn't it be interesting to go into that circumstance and say, I'm going to play so and so's role this
Yeah,
time? I'm going
yeah,
to try on something different. Or I'm going
yeah.
to pick a role that isn't even in our
In our
family
mm-hmm,
and introduce that and see what happens.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it
Hmm.
is because we're not, and I'm going to say the word grace, but we need to offer grace to ourselves when we're in that superwoman, Wonder Woman
Hmm.
mentality thing and to others as they're there and acknowledging it doesn't make it easier. It just makes it
No.
It just
And
kind
sometimes acknowledging it can actually inflame the situation. I'm not saying don't acknowledge it,
of,
but if I say to the sibling who is
mhm.
being the hero right now,
Yeah,
what I'm noticing is,
yeah.
we're going back to taking the war
The
out
word,
of our words, and
yeah,
how do you do this in a way that doesn't ignite her hair on fire?
yeah. And you and I can sit here. We've had hours of coaching, hours of therapy, hours of doing that, and
Self-examination. Yeah.
self-examination and all that stuff that allows us to see to be
Mhm.
able to do that. And when we're interacting with folks who have not had that, it it is it's difficult. And that's that common ground conversation that we talked about is they're
Yes.
responding from wherever they are, that other
Right.
person is. And there's
Yes.
very little we can do in our current state. However, just in your circumstance and in mine and you got to get stuff done. You got to get to a place where you can say, okay, how do we make the best decision possible? How do we do the things that need to get done? Um, and, and sometimes the people aren't willing to move.
Right. And sometimes it's okay to speak your truth about what you see. I'm not sure we can come to a solution today. I'd like to propose that we take a timeout
Yeah.
and maybe we can revisit this in a day or two. Are you
Hmm.
willing to do that? I
Hmm.
might get my hair blown back with no. It's going to be what it's going to be, but we can keep offering grace. I'm sorry you're this upset. I'm really sorry you're this upset.
Well, and it does go back to one of the lessons from the biology of bullying is that you can't change the other person. Oh my gosh.
No, but you can choose for yourself what kind of energy you're going to bring to the circumstance.
192%.
And it's really hard sometimes when it's the old pattern that's been there for 60 years
Uh-huh.
to decide, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to try something different. And don't beat yourself up if you manage to hang on to something different for one or two rounds and then you're right back in the soup.
Yeah, and it's
You made
because
it one or two rounds. Yeah.
yeah, and celebrate that piece of it and that piece of
Yes.
it because the nervous system wiring is there for you and for the other person. And the other thing that we don't always talk about is like I can sometimes get myself into somebody else's emotions when I shouldn't be.
Mhm.
It's almost like that empath thing, kind of like I'm,
Mhm.
and that really does take a force field. That takes Mr. Spock putting up the
Yes.
force field kind of thing.
Yes. And if you can ratchet your own reaction down, it's going to be harder for them to stay as elevated as they are. Because
Hmm.
usually what we do is this, and we wind each other up. We can
Hmm.
also begin to decelerate things a
Hmm.
step at a time.
Well, and I've had to practice the pause before I had something fly out of my mouth just recently, where somebody came at me and my amygdala was fired, and I just needed a few seconds. I pushed my tongue to the roof of my mouth. I pushed my feet down on the ground, and I just said in my head, I could hear myself saying, just hold off, just a tiny little bit. And it brought me back to the present versus my amygdala being letting somebody come out. And so just that pushing your tongue up against the roof of your mouth for just a few seconds, it's like, okay, I'm not gonna say anything. Okay. That and that's learned behavior. That is not anything that comes automatically.
No.
You're gonna like respond,
And if you
react,
can,
react. Hmm.
practice something, practice a response that buys you some time. You might say, hold, please.
Yeah,
Buy yourself a few seconds.
yeah.
And or you one of the ones I used today was I don't think there's anything I can say right now that's going to be productive. So,
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And that timeout is excellent because then whoever called the timeout has to call the re-engagement piece. You can't just call it timeout whenever. There has to be,
Forevermore. Yeah.
that re-engagement moment, whatever that looks like. And again, even the re-engagement might not get you a healthy kumbaya moment with whoever that person
Hmm.
is. There,
Hmm.
there are just there are factors out of our control. And
Yes.
the only thing we can control is our response, not reaction, our response. Because the reaction is just going to be, it's like when you go to the doctor and they hit your knee and it
Yeah.
goes
Boom.
flying. That's a reaction. The response is exactly what you said. I don't think we're getting anywhere, kind of a thing. Like,
Yes.
we gotta,
Yes.
kind of a thing. And it's been an experience with certain people that just pisses them off worse.
It does. It can. But again, you still get to govern your own behavior. And if you feel like nothing good is going to come out of this, you have every right to call the timeout. And the
Yeah.
conversation may not end well. Okay, I'm going to hang up now.
Yeah.
I understand you still want to engage. I'm calling the timeout. I love you. Goodbye.
hmm hmm one of the things I've learned in this current marriage, which is wonderful, is my need to hear is not always his need to talk. And I have had to learn, and it's successful 99% of the time, in his own due time. He will
Mhm.
come to me with what I need to know, kind of, because I was like always standing, what did you do? Did you talk? Did you say that? And finally, and that was learned behavior because it just stirred. It was not the
Mhm.
right kind of coming
Yep.
at sort of a thing. So it's
And a lot of that needs to be spoken. Okay, I'm having the need to understand what's going on, so I want to ask you 8,000 questions. Am I accurate in assuming that you have the need to not talk right now?
exactly.
Okay, cool. What are we going to do about this?
And for me, not to take it quote unquote personal.
Personally, yes.
That was huge. That was huge because I'm like a motor mouth and I want to blah, 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 blah,
Mm,
that's my processing ability
yes.
and not everybody has it.
No.
So let's see what our takeaways from all this are.
I think a huge takeaway is give people the benefit of the doubt.
Mhm,
Offer them grace and offer yourself at least as much grace as you're offering them, if
mhm.
not more.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's a huge one. What do you think?
I think acknowledging that we get, I'm going to triggered, activated, whatever that looks like, and taking the pause, just taking that moment to respond versus react. And
Hmm.
that if you can get to that place. And then the other thing is what we talked about very early on is there are times you just don't have the capacity. And that is a
Yes. And own that.
and it
Own that.
and it's real. And we were talking about a situation I had a couple of weeks ago where somebody came at me and I just said, I don't have the capacity right now. I just and they finally I said, I have to be done with this right now.
Hmm.
And I didn't feel bad about it because I felt like I was offering real. I wasn't making it up. I mean, I really and truthfully knew that nothing good was going to come from any of that.
Right.
And so,
Right.
and I was, and when you're rested and you're not in pain and you've slept and things are going well, oftentimes we do have greater capacity, you
And
know.
when we've agreed it's time for the conversation and I'm ready and you're ready, that's a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And we can't force anybody to if they don't have capacity either. I mean, I shouldn't say that because I think in certain circumstances there's stuff that just has to get decided. And
But you can also put that into words. I'm sensing you don't have capacity right
mhm,
now. I understand that. And we have this issue that has a time pressure or a deadline or whatever. How would you like us to handle this?
hmm hmm And maybe the other person would, and I don't know this for a fact, I'm just kind of tossing it out. Maybe the acknowledgement that I get you may not have capacity, and I get that you've been up all night, and I get that you got IBS, and I got all these kind of pieces. I want to offer us a way to get from here to there. And what might that look like? And how might we
Mhm.
be able to start? Because we need to get to here. And right now we're
Right.
not able to do that. And I think even in that conversation, sometimes you don't have the same here that you want to get to.
Agreed.
So,
Agreed. Yes.
so as always, what our conversations are is like life is lifing, and
Yes.
there are no black and white answers for these kind of
No. And
situations.
avoiding lifing is not going to get you where you want to go. So
hmm
sometimes we do need to just face it where it's at, deal with the good, the bad, and the ugly, and move on.
And
Move
and
on.
and be willing to say everybody's doing the best they can. You know,
Yeah.
we're just
Yeah.
all trying to get along. What's that song? What if God was one of us? That kind of that song about, just we're all just trying to
Exactly.
strangers on the bus or whatever, how that song goes, kind of thing. We're all just trying.
Yeah. And
And
if you can plant a little kindness and love and grace in this
mhm.
world, we're all going to be
Well,
very appreciative.
and it sometimes it's just a itty bitty,
Yeah.
itty bitty.
And yes, and when you have these things, like obviously we have these things as well. There's
Hmm.
nobody who's immune to this stuff. So if you're like, okay, this is great, but I'm over my head and drowning, what do I do? Reach out to somebody, call a coach. We
Exactly.
both coach.
Hmm.
Speak to someone who's going to have the distance from the circumstance to be able to hold a container for you to come to
Yes.
your best conclusion for you. What's going to be in the highest and best good of
Hmm.
all involved.
And ask you, this goes back to something you said way early on that we brought, ask for help.
Yes.
Asking for help is not an indictment of your weakness or moral character. It's you are human.
Yes. It's your willingness to acknowledge that we are herd animals and we
Yes.
need each other.
Hmm. And we need each other. So thank you, friends, for being with us today. And as we've kind of had this roam, we always kind of roam and ramble, but we get back to where we were.
We do, and hopefully we offer some good stuff that's useful to you. If you have questions or
Yes,
comments, put them in the
please.
feed. That would be awesome.
And share
And
this video with some of your friends. Subscribe, share all the things.
maybe even share this video with someone you have difficulty with. It
Yeah,
might launch an interesting conversation.
exactly. So we'll see you all in a couple weeks and we'll
Sounds,
stay in
yep.
tune.
Bye.